Hello old school wrestling fans and welcome to my latest 1992 WCW review. So this is going to be of Worldwide from the 11th of January 92. Tony Schiavone is again your host. Well, that's going to change in the months to come because he'll be having a special guest host at some point, a legend in his own right, so I'll be keeping you up to date with that. But here we go, and we open with a standard job match. Flying Brian Pillman smashes through Chuck Coates, who I have to say is looking more and more like a homeless man every week, a drunk, stumbling homeless man. He looks so out of shape. He's blown up within 2 minutes of this match. He absolutely looks hopeless. The sort of guy where it looks like you could pick anyone out of the crowd or off the street and he would look better. He even miscues for Flying Brian's finisher, the jumping clothesline off the top row. It just looks awful. I feel sorry for Brian Pillman. Chuck Coates has to be the worst jobber I've ever seen. I mean, he just screws up basic stuff. And the thing about it is, I actually look back and this guy had been a jobber for a while. He'd been a wrestler for a while at this point, because there's matches on YouTube and clips of him in the WWF in the 80s. He's in a tag match, I think, with Demolition at one point. Also, he'd been around WCW, the NWA for a while. He'd been in matches involving the Road Warriors. And yeah, he just looks so bad in this match. Chuck Coates, man, I mean, normally I don't give jobber matches any sort of ratings if they're just standard, but this one stands out just because of how shit Chuck Coates is. So sadly, I'm gonna have to give it the 1 star. There you see the Twin Towers. That's it. That's who I was trying to remember. He was in a match with the Twin Towers. So 1 star for this jobber match. In an interview, Paulie Dangerously and Medusa do a good job of hyping up the 6-man main event coming up later. That is until Paulie makes a dated comment about the faces getting desperate and getting someone from the hood to wrestle with them. That is, of course, Ron Simmons. So that sort of gag from Heyman drags the segment down just a little bit, sadly. The Cruncher Larry Zbyszko, along with the lovely Medusa, continuing in her feud with Missy Hyatt, smashes through jobber Terry Bronson. And this is the guy who Terry Taylor had some problems with the previous week in a match. No such problem for Zbyszko. He is a master in the ring. He is absolutely dominant. He's old school. He sends a message to Barry Windham, who he put on the shelf in the fall. And he wins the match with an armbar submission. But then post-match, he just has to hit his shoulder breaker, and we get a stretcher job. God, I love the early 90s. Terry Bronson not only beaten but humiliated on a stretcher job, and no doubt Larry Zbyszko still bad to the bone. Medusa really is on fire at ringside as well. The way she works the cameraman, tells him to get away from her, and says, "I've got the better butt out of me and Missy." Hot stuff. I'm loving this. The cartoonish face team of Heavy Metal Van Hammer and Big Josh have another win over jobbers Jim Boss and Jack Savage. And one notable thing is that Van Hammer doesn't screw up the Hammer Rock's finishing maneuver. Now, they tease that Big Josh might be about to turn heel during the match. Just a couple of moments where he seems to be getting a bit too big for his boots. Now, here's the thing. I mean, out of the two, it would make more sense for Van Hammer to turn heel because of his rock and roll bodybuilder gimmick. Not so much Big Josh. Big Josh just needs another gimmick, but a heel turn would really match Van Hammer's real life persona. That's what I hear anyway. Anyway, comfortable win for the faces in this one. And in the next match, another job match, Mr. Who's the bodyguard. Well, no longer a bodyguard. He again runs through two jobbers. This time Rick Ryder and Larry Santo take the falls at the hand of Mr. Who's standard, but Mr. Who's looks so boss. I've got a new appreciation for him. So we're then on to the main event, 6-man action. You've got the Dangerous Alliance team, Bobby Eaton and Arn Anderson, along with the television champions, Stunning Steve Austin, Paul Lee dangerously in their corner, against the face team, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, the All-American Ron Simmons, and Dustin Rhodes. So you've got a tag title feud going on with Eaton, Anderson, Steamboat, and Rhodes, and then obviously Simmons thrown into the mix. He had a World TV title match with Arn Anderson on last week's show. So this is a really hot main event to end things on. You get a crisp swinging neck breaker from Steamboat, a fast-paced start with him and with Eaton. Arn comes into the ring, but Steamboat, using his experience and his know-how and the quickness to outsmart the heel. Nice karate kick onto Arn, reverse karate kick. And Arn fires back. You get some back and forth action early on. And the stinging blows onto Arn from Steamboat looks really real. Arn's response as well. It looks very basic stuff, but looks very realistic. And they clear the ring of all the heels. We then get some Arn and Steamboat clashes. Simmons in for the big sort of powerhouse change around. And he gets some high impact blows, a big clothesline at one point, and triple elbows on the heels at one point, and things really kick into high gear. You've got Heyman's just pissed dangerously. He's just screaming on his phone as things are going wrong, and Dustin with the toe drop, basic moves on Arn, keeping in control. But finally, Arn runs Dustin into his own partner, into Bobby Eaton's head. I love that move. It's such a basic sort of old school type maneuver, sacrificing your own partners. So the heels finally turn the table with some quick double teaming in and out. You get a small package out of desperation from Dustin Rhodes, gets a near fall, but he's weakened after the move, so the heel's back on top. And this is the part of the match I really like, as they sell the conflict between the teams of Arn and Bobby and Steamboat and Rhodes, because we see how upset Steamboat gets when his tag partner is being double teamed on the outside and all this stuff, and Steamboat can't get to him. We see the fiery dragon. It does a great job in selling the feud, and in fact later on Steamboat puts his body on the line for Dustin when he's about to get hit with a maneuver. Arn like headbutts into Rhodes. There's like a mid-ring collision, and that leads to the hot tag with Ron Simmons. All six brawl. Simmons in the end hits a spine buster on Bobby off the top rope for the 1-2-3 and the big win for the baby faces. But of course the fight goes on post-match. This is such a bitter feud. Simmons and Zbyszko joining them to continue it, and it's a satisfying main event. 3.5 stars I'm going to give this 6-man tag. And the last thing on the show is an interview with the Young Pistols, WCW this week, where they've recently turned heel. Tracy Smothers rambles on about something and claims that the Steiner brothers are washed up. Well, they're not I think they're younger than you, Tracy, so I'm not sure where you're getting that from. But even as heels, the Pistols still suck. And I like Tracy Smothers, but the gimmick, the characters suck. So that's WCW Worldwide for this week. I will update the top 10 next week. Thanks for listening. Like and subscribe. Share me out on social media. Give me your thoughts on anything which you enjoy, anything you're not so keen on when it comes to my reviews and when it comes to WCW in 92. What are your memories? Thanks for listening, wrestling fans. Have a good week.